yes to anything, because so much of our lives are serendipitous. You know, I mean, how many people do you know that when they were 8, 9, 10, 12 years of age said, I'm going to be an astronaut, or, you know, whatever? That's usually pretty rare. Most of us just travel a path and doors open or close, or they're not. And so I've thought about that myself, you know, why is it that I've made the choices that I have? I think ultimately it comes down to a person's heart. You know, where's your heart? And, you know, where do you feel your fit is? Because ultimately everybody wants to feel a sense of contribution. You know, I want to feel like my time on this earth means something. And so we choose things that mean something to us. For some people, it's racing a motorcycle, or it's flying an airplane, or, you know, whatever. There's a lot of worthy things. But for me, what I saw with particularly Turning Point, and especially back then, I mean, not that we're huge today, right? But I mean, it was really very small and intimate. And it was, what it said to me is what it still says, and that's community. That this was an opportunity to engage in our community. I came from someplace else, like a lot of us have. My physical locations have been varied in my lifetime. Cold climates, warm climates, but you know, I'm a transplant here. So what is it when a person comes into another strange location that makes that connection of community? And for me, that original contact was Turning Point, because Turning Point was directly community involved. There's a lot of good works in our community, and any community. I was involved with the Ronald House for many, many years. Washington, D.C., Denver. Those are great outreaches. Again, localized. You know, you can send money and time to the American Cancer Institute, very worthwhile. American Heart Association. But the thing that I think that distinguishes us here and makes it so appealing is that everything that's done here is done here.
Yeah.
And that's community.
I love it. And you really have, you know, everything on your business page talks about consistency, and keeping the sailing image even though you're in the desert. And I love that because, like I said, we were in that little 1,100 square foot building. I probably would not have ever stepped out of that because of fear. And you continue that consistency. Consistency will build. Consistency will build. And here we are today in the 3,300 square foot building and looking at larger property. I mean, I feel like you're so responsible for that push in the, you know, keep doing the work and it'll come. Where did that come from?
Well, maybe some of that, you know, you touched upon something. I love the sailing motif. I even have a sailboat on my
And I love that you didn't change it for the desert.
Right, that's right. Because that was such an integral part of my life and growing up. I grew up in the Great Lakes. I lived on the Chesapeake Bay for a long time. I had an interest in the America's Cup as long as I can remember. And consequently, Dennis Conner became kind of a life hero for me. He skippered our J12 class to the America's Cup victory. And one of his quotes, and I use it in my business, and it says something to the effect that he's never been one to have glory in the moment, but over the long term, to run the race for the long term. And, you know, I think about that out of Scripture, you know, that we're challenged to run the race with patience and to not be fearful. You know, John Wayne is famous for saying that real courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyhow. And so part of a sailor's experience is you're out there in this vast body of water. Sometimes you can't see one shore from the other, but you go by your instincts. It's like flying. You go by your instincts, and you say you keep a course, you set a course, and you stay on it. You know, with Turning Point, it was kind of similar. We were given an opportunity. Uncharted waters, yeah, never been there. Scary to go someplace we've never been before. But, you know, a true sailor, think about, you know, guys that sailed across oceans when they didn't have
No, I can't even
the
fathom.
courage that took. So, you know, that I think kind of what motivated me. But listen, with sailing in the old days, what would they do? They'd fix a course on a star. And, you know, we've got our star, bright, shiny morning star. So we fix our course on Jesus, and he says, do it. I'll be there. So we saddle up or set sail and away we go.
I mean, yes, he's shown up every step of the way, but I know there are a lot of times that I thought, okay, I can't do this, I don't want to do this, and you have always been, okay, just the steady, like keep the course. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, and you know, Debbie, we said a little bit ago, it's about community. We came from the outside, but community is open. You know, whether we've been here a year, 10 years, or all of our lives, this is our community, this is where we live. And there's no, I mean, everything that Turning Point does affects our community in a positive way. So, you know, how can you help but not say, sign me up?